The biggest story of this week has been the story raging around the Confederate flag in South Carolina. Suddenly it is now the train has totally left the station. Absolutely everyone agrees the Confederate flag should come down pretty much everywhere. You have a client in Mississippi who came out.
I did.
It's
not my client anymore.
Sorry, Roger Wicker, who came out today and said he wants the flag to change too. So what is it how did this happen? I mean, the easy answer is the shooting crystallized things. There's no doubt about that. But the Republican Party has moved really swiftly. Talk about the dynamics there.
Well, I think it's one of those things that that is growing old with age. And Nikki Haley is a very aggressive and a very courageous Republican. You're right. She hasn't been particularly impassioned about getting rid of the flag, but
she's played it down.
But yeah, she doesn't shy away from just doing what you got to do the right thing. So I think her going ahead and doing it and having the popularity that she has, just opened the door to say, okay, as a Republican Party, we're going to go ahead and get rid of this. And I think that's fine. I think, like you said, having the righteous indignation that some of the people have come out with recently, I think it may be put on for the moment. But you can't deny lives are taken, and it brings up some emotions, and why not take the opportunity to do it?
Do you not think there's do you not think there's some degree of expedience here that a lot of Republicans looked around and said, once it had blown up, looked around and said, we got to get this issue off the table, because if we're going to be asked about this throughout the rest of this cycle, this is going to put us in a bad place. Let's just, like everybody, let's just fall in line.
Absolutely.
So we don't have to talk about it anymore.
Well, why are we talking about it? I mean, people don't have jobs. Schools need reforming. Things that the Republican Party can do really, really well, economically, even emotionally. Why not talk about those things? Why are we wasting time on something like this? It has meaning for a small amount of people who still fight that war, but at the end of the day, is it really what's going to get somebody, you're very close to a job? Or
just to say, I think part of the reason why it has meaning is that it had meaning for the person who went in and shot up that church, which I think was enough.
Absolutely,
and for a lot of African Americans.
No, and I don't deny that. I mean, for God's sakes, that's terrible, and that's horrible, and that should bring up the issue of the underlying problems that are there. But for political issues over the course of an election, is this what we want to be talking about, or should we be talking about how we get that guy a job and some help?
On most volatile social issues, sometimes one side gains favor, but usually the pendulum will swing back a little bit. Gay marriage, for instance, a lot of conservatives still fighting that fight. Maybe too soon to say, but what's your instinct? Is this issue now over? Is it going to move inexorably throughout the South and the rest of the country towards getting rid of the Confederate flag as part of public life?
I do. I think it will. I think that this one's a hard one. Gay marriage, life, those have moral roots in issues with, caring about the life of a human being, caring about, caring about a religious belief. Where do you put the flag in that continuum? The flag is a symbol of the Old South. It's a symbol of, where does someone go to church and say, I want to keep the Confederate flag because? What's the end of that sentence? I think that is a good indicator that if you can't answer that question and make a passionate speech of why you want it, why would it stick around?
Can you think of a place or a client where you would say to them, if they said, I want to keep defending the flag, I think it's important, where you wouldn't try to talk them out of it?
I don't try to talk my clients in or out of any position, honestly, and I wouldn't.
Let me ask you this way: if someone said that's the position I want to take, what would you tell them the way to explain it was?
I would say, isn't there something more important we need to talk about?
You motioned at the wall back here.
I laughed
because of the Supreme Court case. I'm curious as to whether you see a parallel between this and gay marriage. Is gay marriage going? I imagine that a year from now, Republicans will look back on this Confederate flag thing and say, I don't know why we were ever arguing about this. Will they feel the same way about gay marriage?
I don't think it'll be as simple a transition, because with gay marriage, like I said, there's very deep religious underpinnings. There's value underpinnings that I don't think exist as deeply with the flag. I don't think you have people who have been taught their entire life or have been a part of a faith their entire life that says the Confederate flag is the thing to have flying over your house. I think you have people that believe deeply in a particular set of values that are going to stick with that, and that'll make it a little harder and different. Rightfully so.
Actually, just quickly, Republicans, the RNC, Republican National Committee, Jeb Bush, have both brought up this issue of cybersecurity, being critical of the Obama administration. Does that seem like a strong issue for Republicans to be talking about politically?
It's a smart issue, and if we want to be a party of smart issues, yeah, let's talk about it, because, my power went out last night and I had, like, the shakes.